Last week we lost a lot of races. We made some gearing changes. We went from a 42 to a 41. We're running a 190 55 17 instead of your standard 200 on 1,000. What's going on is we reduced a lot of the rotational mass. We're looking for a little bit more top end without pulling the front wheel. So with the stacks, we have a variable stack, so we're able to get a lot more grunt out of the bottom due to we can vary when they open. So we have these opening right around 11,000. So as the bike's picking up on its peak torque, we're jumping into the next gear. We're able to short shift if we want and stay up in the sweet spot. For Suzuki's, your main power is going to be below 12,000, right? So what happened is James had gone out and won some races. And that was on a 42, right?
The strip or the street?
Street.
Well, I didn't win a whole lot on.
Because it was like 30 dudes.
Oh, that was the strip that we went up.
Oh, the strip. Yeah,
that was 1641. So that was working good for me on the half mile, not necessarily street, because the half mile I'm not even touching sixth gear yet.
So set it for 5
So it's like running perfectly all the way fifth wide open. But the street, that's a total different race because you're racing 6th gear wide open. You're kind of just having all your buddies waiting to see who backs off first. So the 1641 on this is equivalent to like a 1743.2.
Which is just.
So I'm losing a little bit of top end, but that's also messing with the transmission gearing.
Yeah, so every gear is going to give us a different final drive. So first, second, all the way up to 6th. So with this combo 1741, even with a massive reduction with magnesium wheels, right? We're not running heavier aluminum wheels. We have an even lighter wheel with a better spin balance, right? Not all wheels are made the same. Like you take a set of OZs, Cormotos, BSTs, Rotobox, none of them are the same. Some of them are hub centric, while others have rotational mass on the outer rim. Weight in motion stays in motion. So these wheels were premier wheels in America when it was the AMA. A deal went bad, boom, Magtan's out of the US, they're back. So they're very well spin balanced. So the acceleration, we shouldn't be having too big of a problem, but it's a lot to ask when you're, like James saying, on the street, you're jumping up into the 13,000s, your torque's coming down, which is your real power number, not your horsepower. And this is a pre-22 model. Suzuki didn't tell anybody, but on the head, on the 22, it makes more power, right? So we're only making 186 horse on just regular standard pump gas. But if you look at some of the videos we have, nobody's catching us, right? They only catch us on the street, where guys will have stock wheels, full stock, full weight bike, they're still running by.
And keep in mind, apples to apples.
Right?
Weight to weight.
Yeah, I mean, rider weight, chassis setup, where's the rear wheel at, how long is the chain? There's so many moving pieces, so we're gonna keep it as simple as possible. We're gonna go to a 42, it's already on, right? That's gonna give us, it's gonna be about a 274 final drive, which is, we'll call it a little better than Cadillac gearing. It's more like a standard 1500 truck gearing. So we'll be able to stay in the power all the way, and we'll get some film for you so you know exactly how it turns out. But the 42 is going to be the better combo. Again, lightweight doesn't mean it's fast, and gearing is a big combination. You have a smaller sprocket with the 41, and it's got to turn a lot more. It's got to turn as fast as possible, but you just don't have the torque. Laws of physics really kick in. They go exponentially from 150 to 180. It really rises. So to really hit that top end number with this gearing, I calculated we need about an honest, a little over 200, about 202 horsepower to really pull that 41. And we're going to be bringing you well over 200 horsepower here soon. A couple things we'll talk about, and is the chassis length. On a Suzuki, you got to get the wheel all the way back. I like to always order 130 length chains, or 130 link, and that's I just use it because I typically run a 43 or 44 rear sprocket and I run 122 links. I'm setting my bike up to touch 190 and I'm done, right? So I'm not running on the street. My BMW, that's a different story. But with the Suzuki, getting the arm back really allows you to just smack it. Another thing is your rear shock, right? Force of gravity, it's not like a car where it's sprung like this. This is a moving chassis, and force is always driving to the ground. So when you get on the gas, and if your bike squats, it will wheelie, right? Because it's got a rebound. So we slowed down the rebound. We added, I can't remember because I haven't touched stock suspension so long, but I believe there's 6 turns of preload in the rear.
Which is horrible. The rear shock on the Suzuki is horrible.
That's the first thing you throw away on a Suzuki is the rear shock. It's traditional. Suzuki's always used. I mean, look at a Hayabusa. It's a $25 rear shock. So one thing that we're going to be adding, right? So we can get rid of the straps in the front. So we're gonna add some shims to the rear clevis. We're gonna get the rear up a little bit. And again, the way bikes move, again, the center is right here, the arm's back here. We're gonna get that clevis up a bit, and that 5-10 mils ends up being 30-40 mils at the rear, right? Strapping the front end is
I think it works good for like stock bikes.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a quick, I just want to have it hit in first gear, fine, it's gonna help you out. But I think once you're going to a certain point, you're like me, I don't want the strap. I'm over it.
Yeah,
I'm tired of flying around.
It's too much. It's in your
Your
face.
front's
It's
too rigid.
potentially unsafe. Your front forks have top out springs,
You know what I love the most though? Is when these guys have like a 6-inch over swing arm,
and they're still pulling the wheel.
Their bike's slammed, and they still have a strap. I'm like, you don't even need that.
In
If you
fact,
look at all
it's
the
counteractive.
fast guys,
You spin the tire.
the actual fast guys
Yeah.
that are well extended, set up perfectly fine, they don't have straps. So these dudes that are fully extended, slam on the floor, and they're strapped. I'm like, your setup has to be so bad that you think that your strap is helping you.
Yeah. So
Stock swing arm bike with your axle all the way forward, the strap might help a little bit, of course, but
those
I see
tiny.
these guys doing that. I'm like,
Well,
what is the point of putting the swing arm if you think you need a strap?
well, remember, your arm wasn't all the way back at first.
No.
The axle wasn't all the way back, so James kept pulling the wheel, says strap the front, says just get the axle back. Pretty much solved the problem. So again, I always order 130 length chains. That way I have some gearing choices, a little extra links if I need them.
For most people that want to run a half mile, I think a 1641 is fine, or a 1742. So you can run a 120 link with a 1641. That'll put your axle all the way back on this bike. Keep in mind, it might not be the best gearing for street running 6-gear wide open, depending on your tune and your setup, of course. 1742 will still have it pretty far back, but you're still losing about 1/4 of an inch. But if you want to run 42 or a 43, maybe even a 44, I would get a 130 link chain. But you can get away with 120 links on a 1641.
Good, absolutely. So let's talk about 41, 42, 43. Your 41 final drive on 6 gears, 241 final drive. That's Cadillac gearing. 42 puts us into 247 final drive. If we go to a 43, we jump to a 2.53. Significant jump from 42 to a 43. So with the 42, I think we'll do really good on the street. The 43, we can definitely run it in a half mile. Jump out, it's gonna be hard to catch. So here, we're gonna give you all the details. This stuff's not secret, right? Gearing is not a big issue, and we wanna make sure you're successful in obtaining your goals with your motorcycles. This is what we do. So it's not too difficult. Now, so what filters? Why? If you're on the street, you're dealing with a lot more dust, you're behind cars, there's just a lot more going on in your standard street versus what's going on the track. So I'll never sell you a filter that's paper thin, right? Something you can see through. Usually guys that are running, Sprint filters, and sorry Sprint, it is what it is. Welcome to America. Sprint filters are gonna flap, right? So you have a ton of air each cylinder. As a valve slams shut, comes up and slams shut, that air has to go somewhere and it goes right back into the air box. So you're getting this continuous fluctuation of your air filter. Run a cotton filter, that's all you need. I don't care what anybody says, and I'll happily argue with real facts. Air filters don't make you a ton of horsepower. Your choking point is your throttle bodies. They're this big. You can only get so much air through them, and if you're full wick, your pistons are the one that are pulling the air. Right? It's not being pushed in.
And I think for most guys that are considering DNA, MWR, K&N, Sprint, are you going to notice a huge difference over stock? Maybe something, but
it's a hint.
But okay,
Yeah.
drag strip only. You want to throw in a Sprint because it lets pretty much everything in.
Hit it.
You're running a quarter mile.
Yeah, you're done, and it's a clean area, right? Usually racetracks, there's out of the area, and they usually have some.
And I wouldn't even put a Sprint filter on a circuit track, just because if you do crash, especially in the summertime, with all the bugs and the crap and the debris,
It's
someone goes down,
yeah.
there's a bunch of dirt in front of you, in front of the next corner. It just lets too much in. I wouldn't even run it on a track.
It really does. I mean, honestly, the clip's not around anymore, but it was on ESPN way back in the day. A guy who I know, I won't name him, he was putting dirt on top of a Sprint filter, and it just started falling through. This was on camera on ESPN. You know, it's just one of those things. Run cotton. It's going to be your best filtration. You can wash it, set it out, shake it, re-oil it. You're good. You know, you can run DNA, K&N, MWR. I have an MWR in my Suzuki, and my airbox has always been clean, but I also keep it well oiled or greased. So the wheels, again, these are Magtan. They're perfectly set up for indefinite spin balance. It's how you would balance a crank so you don't blow your bike up. So I want to tell you about our prototype factory superbike exhaust. We're going to keep the name short for FSBK. Keep it easy so you guys can remember. It's only made for the Suzuki and the BMW right now. The BMW is done. It's premier. The Suzuki, you know, the exhaust cam on the Suzuki is a little too small, and that's why Suzukis currently don't have a ton of top end. So, you know, when we go to put some cams in the bike, we're going to share everything. We're going to give you the game, so there's no guesswork for you, right? We're going to do all, I mean, we already know what to do, but I just want to take you through the stages so there's a little bit of learning, understanding, and you know what you buy in, and you know what not to buy, right? It's a different world. So it's better to just deal with professionals when it comes to some things, but buyer beware. So many products in our industry are overhyped, oversold, and so we keep seeing the same stuff over and over and over again. It's because people are motivated to push a continuous brand, especially if it's coming out of a dealership, right? It's like, why is the dealer pushing? So it's kind of like pharmaceuticals, right? Anyways, so it's lightweight. I did a really high temp packing, lightweight packing in here. It's a legit carbon tip. I can put a torch to it. It does taper. There's a taper all the way down, and another taper right here. The whole point of the exhaust system is to allow the air in and out. So scavenging is the word of the day. It's a little bit lower than what most people like for roll racing, or, you know, if they want to strap the bike. Me, I don't care. It's about getting that throttle crack immediately. And if your exhaust can't breathe efficiently, that's the word, right? That's all tuning is. People are stage one, stage two. There's no such thing as staging. You either tune the bike efficiently or you don't. If somebody's selling you stages, they're selling you less efficient tunes when they know they have a perfectly efficient tune to hand you, okay? Why would you be paying for stages? It's not a turbo bike, right? So all the stage stuff, run away if you see stages, right? And all you guys selling stages, yeah. So this whole system is for immediate throttle response, right? And in racing, whether you're coming out of a corner or you're trying to dig in and jump out on from somebody, James, how many guys you jumped out on people?
A decent amount, yeah.
I mean, what's your experience as far as how immediate response is on the throttle?
Pretty much, if you're riding with one hand and you're not paying attention and you like flip the throttle on accident or you hit a little pothole, you better be hanging on because it'll jerk on you.
Yeah, we're allowing the bike to breathe efficiently as best we can. Combo, you can't see it, we'll show you later. It's 4 down. We're really trying to keep the overall length of each downpipe or header manifold at the same length. Then we're gonna come into 2, into 1, and every step of the way I've tapered it. So we're really neck down right in the beginning, because what happens is you're still getting a burn and a flash that's going down into the pipe, like, right? But as a valve shuts, remember, air wants to come back up into the top because a valve shuts, so you get a little pullback. So I've set it up, well, I'll explain it later, but it's gonna allow you to crack the throttle in immediate response. Where other systems, you're gonna kind of have a little bit of a hesitation because it's not tapered enough, or it's different scavenging points. I did our first taper at 210 mils down. That was strategic. I worked with Ray Stringer Ray Station. Thank you, Ray, as always. You're an absolute legend, tuner, builder, designer. These are our stringer stacks. So I get to work with one of my favorite people on the planet. He's so smart. So Ray has helped me with this exhaust. I am not my own made man. I'm a combination of all the great people I know, and so I appreciate all of you. I believe firmly there's a balance, right? Because remember, this is our driving point, and the force isn't back, it's down, right? So immediate crack on the throttle. I set up the rear shock really stiff to handle that, and then the rebound is currently as best as we can for a stock shock. It's going away because it's trash, right? For all you guys running long arms, we need to calculate your axle position and your spring rate. So you see guys who are, I'm pulling the wheel on a long arm, yeah, because you got a girl shock on the back of your bike. You got a Ninja 400 shock. Once you create that leverage, that's a lot more inches turn into hundreds of pounds. So if you're packing the front wheel, it's not because your bike's fast, it's because your chassis is not set up. So we're gonna keep going through this bike. We're gonna be running Motul 300V, which is my favorite oil. It's spec oil, that's why it's green, so you know what's in it. The exhaust has performed really well. There's no other system we know of currently that outmaxed it on a pre-22 Suzuki. You're gonna see some superbike stuff. We're gonna add some balancing chambers to the exhaust to see if we can get a little more top end out of this prototype. That way we have a few different models. And then later we'll release another pipe that's a little bit higher up in the belly pan. This is a purebred race system. So if you do want to lower your front end, I wouldn't go below, I don't know, a couple inches. We've had a couple scrapes here and there. It's grade 5 titanium. It's got aluminum in it. It's not gonna crack, it's gonna fall apart. It's premier aluminum, no cheap stuff. So there's a price tag on it, but it's definitely worth it. So that's it for today, guys. And fuck off. All right. Our current setup wasn't working. We were running a JB Power Magtan to go with the wheels. So when you order wheels, you get a free sprocket. The 41 was too much, so the chassis wasn't working. Driven Racing, one of our favorite companies, that really doesn't ever get talked about a lot. It's made in the USA. Noam's a phenomenal engineer. He makes stuff for Moto 2. I'm not supposed to tell you that, but he's a legit engineer, designer, and knows how to make a product that doesn't explode. We've gone with some other companies. The front sprocket looked like it was used when we received it, and it actually started chipping away. I like
500 miles on this one.
Yeah, 500 miles. So I run driven sprockets for durability and safety, right? Again, lightweight doesn't mean you're gonna go faster, right? Especially if you're strapping your front end, which remind me to talk about in a second, like how your front end is actually part of your anchor. All driven sprockets come with DLC coating. At low speeds, it's not too significant. At high speeds, heat, friction, and the ability to quickly move over a surface makes a big deal. So take a set of camshafts or lifters. You get these things, they DLC coat cams, they DLC, I'll use Mercedes for instance, the flat tappet lifters, you're picking up almost 12 horsepower just from less friction. Even though there's oil, the DLC coating makes a huge difference in how long your sprockets last. Are they gonna shatter if you're running the big money? I like driven. They're the strongest, and last the longest, and I've had no issues with them ever. I've had issues with all kinds of brands, but you know, the driven sprocket weighs a few grams more, but I don't have to worry about anything breaking on me. I've seen tires blow up, head down a front straightaway at 190 and frames come apart. And so for me, I've just been doing it so long that I do certain things because I know they don't break, but one thing I don't do is I won't give you trash. Right? We're not gonna say, hey, this is a great product when we know it's not. Right? We don't want to hype it up or sell you something that makes you upset. So that's one of the big things. Is the reason why we run with
Hey, I have a
James
question.
coating. Yeah.
If Brox makes a pipe that's so fast, why aren't they on race bikes? On like Moto America and WSBK and Moto 2?
Because they don't make power. They make
I heard
power.
they make the most power.
No, that would just be somebody telling you that.
Well,
Show proof.
Who would be influencing that kind of behavior?
People who are making a ton of money off pipe. Guys, I'm gonna make quite a bit of money off my pipes, but you get all the data with it. So, you know, let's just be real for a minute. A pipe like Brox will never make sound, which is okay, right? You don't have to make sound if you're just on the street. No race teams run them for a reason, right? And I'm not trying to bash on anybody, but there's certain things that belong on the track.
I'm not trying to bash on either.
No,
it's just
we gotta be real about
we have
stuff.
we have to acknowledge certain things.
We do, right? So
Because if you do look at all the Moto America bikes, for example, it's typically M4, Acro,
M4 makes a great pipe,
a
dude.
Yoshi.
Yosh,
That's all on race bikes for 750s,
Dude,
600s,
guys,
1000s. If Brox made the most power, why wouldn't they be on?
well, you could make it make sound if it made
Okay.
it make power.
You could.
I could put a different silencer on it because 60 millimeters is very standard. So certain things.
And one thing too, I don't want to say Brox makes a bad pipe.
It's
I'm
not a bad pipe.
I'm not trying to bash
It's
anyone.
not-
I'm just saying
It's relative to
it
application.
doesn't make the most power.
It can't.
Can't. It has potential, like any company.
But it's
Well, who makes even Brox pipes in the first place?
I believe Hindle made them for a long time. There was a company out of South Africa that was going to make them. On and on and on. So most people don't make their own stuff, right? Which is cool. Like there's a lot of companies. Take Bonamici. They have a medical device company make their stuff because they have a huge warehouse of CNC machines. They may design it. They may buy the design. You know, like I don't have a warehouse cranking out these pipes. I hired a company because they have a $22 million factory and they have tons of titanium available. It's a company that makes car exhaust for BMWs, Porsche, Ferraris. I got pretty blessed with these guys, which just happen to be in the same place, same time, and they don't make any motorcycle exhaust, but they definitely are very interested in what we got going because you're going to see these pipes in British Superbike, which is pretty awesome. I'm really stoked about that. We're gonna have some nice iterations. We're gonna make one change to this pipe locally here. We're gonna add some balancing chambers, and I'm gonna angle them a little bit so you'll see how that works. I'll talk about it in another video. The one thing I did want to talk about is rear sets, right? Foot position, being able to move seamlessly and effortlessly without upsetting your chassis, right? Remember, your forward downforce is here. When you get on the gas, the bike's gonna do this. And so we're driving power into the ground, but too soft, you lose drive. A cheap chain, it may be a 520, but its tensile strength may be way down. That's the rubber band effect. When the chain stretches, it absorbs your horsepower. So the big thing we're building within this chassis is no mechanical loss in power, right? We may run like tilt and clutch plates. We can go ceramic, you know, people are like Barnett. I don't like the stuff. I'm not gonna run it. But you'd be surprised, like a stock clutch can hold a ton of power. Kawasaki's not so much. I see with Kawasaki's, you know, people burning through clutches pretty easy. But with the rear sets, you know, when you're in a position on the bike and you're relaxed and loose, you're on the tank, but if your foot is flat like this, you need to be running GP shifts and go, right? So 1 up, 5 down. If you're running, you know, standard, which you shouldn't be running because frankly it's inefficient. Well, should is it's your own choice, right? But your foot position, right? So these carbon rear sets, the foot position is really in the wrong position. There's no adjustability. They're super light. I stood on them, and I mean, it was like that. But again, these are for lightweight purposes, right? Me, I run a couple different rear sets on my Suzuki. I have Yoshimura Japan rear sets on there. I have some Bonamichis, and then my other ones are actually Woodcraft. People kind of bag on Woodcraft. Eric Wood makes some good stuff. In fact, guys, we have premier companies in America. Attack, Driven. Like, these are premier companies that make phenomenal stuff, and everybody's trying to buy Bonamichi. I won't sell it anymore because it's oversold. It's okay, but when you're shifting, especially with electronics, which I think a lot of people miss, and James has kind of experienced this, on your quick shifter, how like your shift timing, right? But you also have, if your foot's flexing like I'm doing here on this penny, right? I'm gonna naturally put a little more force. I end up bending my shift fork, like tuning, like your shift timing gets off. But any kind of slop in your rear sets, you're not gonna notice it because you can't hear it. It's gonna continually be setting off this trigger. So we're talking about ignition timing your mapping. It's gonna be killing power a little by little. The Suzuki is a phenomenal platform for going fast. It does need some tweaks, and we're gonna keep giving it to you raw. I'll kind of circle back to sound like the ex-Speaker of the House at the White House. I'm circling back to exhaust systems. We make a pipe, right? Mm-hmm. It's a great pipe, legitimately. M4 makes a phenomenal pipe for the Suzuki. It's developed with X-Star Suzuki, which is M4 Suzuki, which you'll see in Moto America. It's really actually like legitimately factory Suzuki. M4 is the title sponsor. So they've been able to develop directly with Chris Ulrich and the team M4 Suzuki for years. So I don't know of a better 750 pipe. It's that good, right? We're right in line with M4 with this pipe. I believe our throttle response is a bit quicker. And frankly, it's hard to tell, right? Guys are, dyno numbers. They can vary day to day based on the conditions of that day. So the only way to really do it is to have the bike completely stripped, get it on the dyno, and take the pipes on and off, and you can be back on the dyno with 1 hour. So it'd be a quick swap to really know for sure. Temperatures, right? If your bike's running over 200, you're losing horsepower. In about 180, right, is where you start losing power. These engines are super efficient, man, and they're doing a fucking awesome job. I can't say that. They're doing an awesome job, especially this bike. It's a pre-22 model, making 186 horse to the window, right? This bike will do 200, but we have to set it up to do 200, right? So, who is it? You want to make an intro?
Before you go, can we talk about radiator guards?
Yes, thank you.
And why I have my radiator out right now?
It's actually so. So guys, going fast requires safety. If you punch a hole in your radiator like James did trying to go fast, that is a very slick chemical, right? It's gonna soak your rear tire, and mind you, your contact patch actually touching surface is about these little patches that are in contact at one time. All it takes is a little bit of water, spinning, but let's say if you get a hole like James did, so I use Cox Racing radiator guards. They're made in Oregon by Andrew Cox. They're really good radiator guards, very, very cost efficient. I don't want to import radiator guards. It's worthless. It's pointless. Like R&G, not made in America. Like we have Cox Racing right here in America, and they make world-class stuff again. You'll see them in Moto America. You'll see them all over the world. So we're gonna put on this radiator, just a radiator guard.
Not this one, a new one.
Another one, sorry. So you can see they get pretty beat up pretty quick. But as you're going, your front tire is deflecting air and whatever is underneath it right into that radiator, and you will punch a hole in it, and hopefully you don't wreck. But I've seen plenty of guys ruin radiators and crash, me included. I punched a hole in my radiator at Sonoma Raceway, and as soon as I leaned the bike over, I went to the moon. So, yeah, no, radiator guards, it's not always about taking everything off the bike, it's about making a bike that will last, right? So
yeah, that's not even a sales tactic, honestly. What are you really making off a radiator guard? Nothing.
30, I think we make 36 bucks.
I think the only reason I'm mentioning that in the first place is
Minus
because,
shipping.
especially us living in the desert, we get rocks like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Did I have one? I should have had one from the beginning. I had one on the Aprilia. Most bikes that I've owned have them.
They're 120 bucks.
It's just one of those things where like
it's worth it. Right?
Let's see if you can use any of these. Sorry.
sure. Right now? Not at all.
Let me double up.
Okay.
Well, here, I'll give all
Oh.
these if you want them. Take them.
Oh, thank you.
Leave them here and
What do you want, Ellie? What do we get?
Pass
We're
them
gonna get
off.
some super glue.
Ellie, come here. Come here.
Pet Smart. Nice.
Go lay down.
Okay,
Lay Lay down.
it's a cheap. Okay, so we'll go. I'll just,
Let me go back.
please.
I don't even think it's a sales tactic at this point. Like every bike should have one. I just wait too long.
If
It's
you're
like
on the
insurance.
street.
It's like insurance.
It's
It's like, oh, it's nothing's gonna
They're not
happen. I'll
expensive.
get one eventually. I'll get one eventually. And then sure enough, my buddy went off to the shoulder, and I was like, oh, I heard
Bink.
it coming. And it's like,
You-
oh, well, maybe your friend shouldn't do that. Well, it's like, what if you're behind
It's
a
gonna
semi,
happen.
a car,
Or
a
what
Prius?
if a side wind?
Yeah.
I've moved 2 feet with a side wind.
When you look how many rock chips we have in our trucks alone.
Yeah. You ever get hit in a rock?
It's
like
just,
on the knee?
It's just insurance. That's all it is.
It's
You know,
they're
it's-
under 200 bucks. They're under 150 bucks with your oil cooler guard. They take what 30 minutes to install, and you never have to worry about it again. You're never gonna punch a hole in the radiator. I can't say never, but I mean you'd have to
just-
you'd have to have a
it's-
2-inch fucking lock.
It's just the insurance, honestly, because
It sucks doing
for
this.
$200,
You have
now
some
I'm spending hundreds on a radiator,
radiator.
and then I didn't even make a mess. The bike could have been a mess. It could have went down. I mean, keep in mind if that was on a track or something. If it was explosive,
Well, or if you were in a race and you're really getting after
Luckily
it,
it
and
was-
you've got a good sized hole in it.
yeah. I mean, luckily mine was very minor, but it's
You're done.
it could be a way bigger disaster. I mean, for $200, I don't even know what
You
the
know,
cost.
I will. I believe, just depending on the bike, but I'll put a link in the videos or in the description somewhere, so you guys can order radiator guards. Another thing that we're going to try to do, and hopefully don't get overwhelmed, is we're going to put on the site your requests. So if you're like, hey, this is my bike, so you're going to give us your bike, your desires, give us a realistic budget, and we're going to try to help you combine your budget with your goals. I don't think anybody does that. I know that that's what I've always done when I used to run a company called EDR Performance. Hey, Eric. Great company. Eric's still one of my best friends in the world. So we're still doing it. We're still making things happen. But yeah, let's try to reach out to us via PDF form with an email. Email it into admin@factorysuperbike, and we'll go through and we'll just really try to help you get where you want to be. And we can give you a stage 1, a stage 2, and a stage 3, so that you're not taking your bike apart all the way, right? So certain things, I'll say, well, let's do it on the next stage versus let's do it right now, right? So if you have a goal, you can reach out and we're gonna help you get to your goal.
Those are real stages, by the way, not stage 9 tunes.
Biden tuning.
It doesn't always have to be fancy stuff. It doesn't have to be a
Doesn't.
brake delete and this stupid gold tape that doesn't work.
This is
It
just
doesn't-
fun.
It doesn't have to be anything fancy with all
this
the
is-
titanium bolts that I have. It can be just simply like my buddy Drew, full weight bike, good tune, good pipe, good stacks,
Or-
and he's walking me a little bit on the top end right now, and he's heavier than me. Like
Yeah.
there's
Because
it's
he
not
has
always
weight.
it's not always the lightest rider, the lightest bike, and all the fancy stuff like that. This
has
is just stuff that I like for bling. This is the things that I want to spend the money on, like the wheels, again the titanium bolts, all the fancy stuff, stuff you don't even see.
And we're not even running ceramic bearings, and that's another topic. Don't buy ceramic bearings, stop that stuff. Those are OEM bearings with the center rays knocked out, with ball bearings from China that are ceramic. okay? They're $40 bearings. Yes, they work. They work when there's a ton of heat in them. So yeah, they'll sit there and spin, no doubt. But then let's put the bike on the ground. Now we have a load on the bike. Now we're hitting bumps. Ceramic is a natural material that comes from mud. So you are gonna get chipping in ceramic bearings. We do have the option of going with a different style of bearing. It's what real racers use. Sorry, everybody's gonna be mad, but I want you guys to know how to buy products, and you're smart buyers, smart shoppers. Doesn't matter where you get it, you're just not gonna get ripped off. So, speaking of full weight bikes, my dude Mungus made me a nice little sweater. Appreciate you, big dog. So, full weight bikes are fast. Dude Mungus is running these exact same setup. I have these opening at a different time to Dude Mungus because I can. so there's but Kayler made out there, B and Opie. I hope you still love the special wheels, PVM wheels. We also have PVM wheels, but great guys out there, smart. So if you're on the East Coast and you're around Dude Mungus, I do recommend Kayler Made. I've spoke to him on the phone. We text each other. So I know they're smart. I know they know what they're doing. Opie was a national champion, and B is a smart guy. So hello Atlanta, and we can't wait to come see you here soon. I'm going to be coming with the BMW, and I think everybody knows that they got a target on their back when I show up. So, but we're going to have some fun, man. We're going to really have some fun, and we're going to try to just give you the details. No frills, no BS, no lying to you. We'll show you how to set the bikes up, and hopefully become a smarter, more in tune, safer, faster, badass rider, because that's what we want. I am personally tired of hearing excessive hype and products that we know for sure won't ever be in the racing world because they're trash, okay? If you, like, there's certain things work, certain things don't, right? So we just want to give it to you raw, and not that kind of raw.
Give it to the raw.
I'm gonna give it to you, baby. You want to go fast, you gotta upgrade your braking system. Better, at least brake pads. I like to run Vezra XXs. I don't run those on the street. I have, but you're gonna build up a little excessive brake test. I really love Vezra pads. EBC, please make better pads because those are trash too. In fact, I'll tell you a quick funny story and then we're out of here. So, I went to go check ride a bike as soon as it was done. It left the shop, and I go check ride it. And I'm grabbing the brakes. I'm like, dude, these are mush. And it's got a Brembo 19 RCS course cord on it. So we're talking some stopping power. So I turn it up, right? I go out, grabbing the brakes, and I bring it back in. I go, Jay, I need you to bleed the brakes, man. Like, there's no brakes. And bleeds it. And I say, hey man, pull these pads. Like, we must have got oil on these pads. EBC. It's that significant of a difference. If you've never used really good brake pads, these are toys, guys. These are not automobiles. It's such a different aspect. Motorcycles are more like airplanes than anything because of that balance we're dealing with. But good brake pads will save your life. Most guys can do this, but very few guys, including you, can really hang on to those brakes hard. And that brings up one thing about these stacks. Because we're able to manipulate the airflow, and I'm not going to tell you the RPM, Dude Mungus, I know you want to know, NB, but when these close, you have a much more positive engagement on the rear tire, so that chassis stays tight, right? When you're on the brakes, you might do this, right? Start backing it in, swinging around. These really do help. Also, you know, banging a gear. So as soon as you hit the brakes, start banging gears, right? So that's it, guys. I hope you learned something today, and you're lucky that you got to see our beautiful faces.
Hold on, get your little back ass
I'm
up.
coming.
One thing I want to finish with too is regardless of what other companies or Bo says, try different things.
Yeah, ask questions.
I'm not here to sell you. Bo, maybe, he's a business. Don't just listen to More Mafia or Brock's Performance or your local tuner. Try different things, because everyone's setup, everyone's weight, everyone's bike is always going to be different. Bo says don't install that part, and I'm going to do it anyways. He might be right.
I told him don't run the 41 sprocket.
I've also removed my oil cooler.
Don't do
people
it.
say don't do it. I did it anyways.
You had
I
to
want to know what works for me. I don't care if I fail. I want to make sure, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe this did work. Maybe this made me a little faster. Maybe this shaved some weight. Whatever the case is, don't be afraid to fail and go, you know what? That didn't work for me, and this is why.
Yeah.
Not just, well, I read online that this doesn't work, so I'm going to trust this person. Oh, I read that this makes me faster, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. It's not always the case.
Yeah.
Know what works best for you and your bike. I'm going to continue to make mistakes, and I guarantee maybe sometime this month I might order something and he's going to go, why did you order that? I'm going to go, well, I wanted to find out. Not maybe because 10 years ago you might have thought, hey, that's stupid. Well, I thought, maybe that's 10 years ago. Well, I want to try it now.
Yeah.
It might still work, you know. So
Yeah, different
make
combinations work.
mistakes. Keep making mistakes, because at the
That's
end,
the fastest way to learn.
you're going to go, okay,
Yeah.
this is what's working for me. Not
Yeah.
just, you know, I understand if you're not very mechanical and just, hey, give your bike to a tuner and say, I want it back and it's going to be running perfect. It might work good for you and your weight, but
Well,
if you want
speaking
to
to,
make a change, you're not going to know what you're doing.
And make small changes.
Small.
You bring up a great point. Is we made a tiny little change in the rear, and immediately the front was coming up. Tiny changes make huge differences on bikes.
Well, what I do recommend too is, yes, make a tiny change, because if I do new wheels, different gearing, I lower the front end, I remove the oil cooler, and I put a new tune on.
We don't know
What did I didn't
which
know-
is causing the issues.
Did I make it faster for a certain reason? Did I make it slower for a certain reason? I don't really know. So, you know, am I losing top end? Am I getting more top end? Am I have more acceleration? Am I wheeling too much? You can't install, like, I know a lot of guys on social media want to be like, oh, I want to have everything done. I want to install everything at
It
once,
doesn't
like
work
$5,000 worth of parts. I get it. I'm the same way. I want to come out feeling like I have a new bike.
It doesn't
But I'm
work that
telling you, you're not going to know the changes you made if you do everything at once.
Yeah,
Because you
won't-
might do
yeah.
one small thing that you did. Like, for example, everything I did to the bike seemed to work out good, right? The wheels, the gearing, the sprocket, the exhaust, the tune.
And then you got walked on top end.
And also,
You know what I mean?
I have a fuel filter on order.
Order a
little
stack of fuel
detail-
filters.
A little detail like that. Like, I don't know if it's perfectly good or not, but it is a little dirty from the last time I pulled it out.
Yeah, change them. Change them several times a year, honestly.
And these are just little things that you might think, oh, I did all these performance mods, but I'm not as fast as I was. Why is that?
Yeah. Chassis. It's almost
It could be a
always
spark
chassis.
plug. It could be a fuel filter.
Yeah.
There could be so many different variables, but make small changes. And I think
You go a lot longer,
That's the
and
best way to do it.
you'll have understanding of what got made. I've worked in the industry forever. I've seen it. Our industry is incredibly unique because you can't. Like, what school are you going to be in the racing world?
Adobo Moto.
Right? Like, I can go to MMI, but then I'm a dealer mechanic, right? I look at the book. It says I'm supposed to charge 1.5 hours to do a chain. You can do that in a half hour, right? So
Okay.
dealer mechanics are not race people. It's not their trade. And I say that so you know where to go. If you like, and even with race shops, you have to be careful because that is a private business. It's not a dealer where it might be multiple dealers. It's not a bit larger corporation with tons of staff. So there, people are, you know, including me and everybody that's in business, are motivated to get you what you want. We're probably going to go a little bit slower route. Some of the things I'll tell you will go against what you've heard. But I've been in the racing world for a long time. Been at the track. Worked with top teams that have #1 plates. Right? And it's not on accident that I get to work with guys like Ray Stringer and Kevin Thompson, and you know, so that puts me kind of in this epicenter of knowledge. And so if there's something I do know, I'll share it. If I don't know, I'm gonna tell you I don't know, because I don't want it to come back on me. Reputation is key in this industry, and the reason I was kind of pushed actually by Driven Racing, Driven Racing, it was like, you gotta get on film, dude. You gotta get out what I know, and and share with, you know, the other people that are in the industry who won't get on camera because frankly they don't want it, right? I don't mind, and I'm happy to share what I know. And if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But I know who knows. So, you know, my network is my net worth in that instance. And so, and one thing I do recommend, guys, is get case covers. If you drop your bike and that case breaks, it's done. Okay, dirt gets in the engine, you're done. So, a couple $100, radiator guard, some case covers. Oh no, it's more weight. That's static weight. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. If it's that big of a deal, get on a diet. Okay? You can't lightweight your bike to death. You'll go slower and slower and slower. And if you want to argue, go ahead and go look at some land speed bikes. Those are not light bikes. You have to have weight. Physics comes in heavy at about $150 and exponentially up to 180, and then it really soars up. So keep in mind, if you want to know something, talk to the experts. Get it on Facebook, you're gonna get some feedback. Talk to people with good reputations who've been around and can really, you know, give you their best knowledge, and, you know, ask around, make small changes, and you'll learn, and you're gonna go a long way. And you'll have a fast bike, but you're not gonna beat us. We're coming for number one.